Hello and welcome to this webinar to explore the alternative arrangements for Essential Skills Wales qualifications for 2020/21. My name is Amanda Kelly and I'm the Industry Manager for Maths, English and Employability. Following direction from Welsh Government and Qualification Wales, the existing adaptations for Essential Skills qualifications have been reviewed for all subjects and levels. In addition, a range of alternative assessment arrangements have been agreed. Working closely with Qualification Wales, the Asset Management Group, the collaborative working group of all awarding bodies who offer essential skills in Wales, that is, City and Guilds, Pearson, WGEC and Agoriad Cymru, have developed guidance to support the delivery of adaptations and flexibilities where required in the delivery of Essential Skills Wales qualification assessments. A copy of the joint agreement, together with an updated guidance document, can be found on the Nation's COVID-19 page of the cityandguilds.com website. The alternative arrangements being described here and in the guidance documents apply for the period the 1st of March 2021 until the 31st of August 2021. These arrangements will allow greater flexibility for centres to support as many learners as possible, but are not to be considered as a replacement for teaching and learning. Live assessments with their adaptations will continue to be available throughout this period. Centres can choose between delivering assessments with adaptations or using alternative arrangements. The alternative assessment arrangements learner eligibility criteria are 1. Those who have completed teaching and learning and are considered to be functioning at the required level, and 2. Those who are due to complete their Essential Skills Wales qualifications before the 31st of August 2021. Essential communication and application of number skills at levels 1 to 3. Learners who are able to complete the current adapted assessments should continue to do so. Remote invigilation can be used where possible. Where it is not possible to deliver assessments in this way, you can delay the assessment until it can be safely conducted, provided that this does not cause a negative impact on the learner progression. Or, if a delay is not possible and the learner is unable to take a live test, the centre can submit a centre-determined grade. So, what do centre-determined grades involve? Centres will be required to inform City and Guilds if they intend to submit centre-determined grades. We are currently working on the process and the method for doing so, and will communicate this to you shortly. Centres must have an internal quality assurance process in place, which is in line with their standard practice, to review the evidence for each learner. Centre-determined grades must be supported by evidence that shows that the learner has demonstrated that they have the necessary essential skills at the relevant qualification level. Framework grids and a record of assessment for centre-determined grades will be provided on the website to support centres with the tracking process. Evidence or records normally provided for EQA monitoring visits should be retained for sampling by City and Guilds as part of the quality assurance process. Evidence. Where the centre intends to submit a centre-determined grade for a candidate, any of the following evidence can be used to make a judgment. The successful completion of a practice-controlled task, which can be carried out without supervision, but it should be internally assessed and quality assured. Or successful completion of a practice confirmatory test. Again, this can be carried out without supervision, but again must be internally assessed and quality assured. Or learner work which clearly demonstrates competency in a broad range of the skills as laid out in the design principles. For communications, this should include evidence of reading, writing and speaking and listening, or for application of number, it should include evidence of calculations and the interpretation and presentation of data. Entry-level communication and application of number. Learners who are able to complete an assessment in the usual way should continue to do so. But where this is not possible, you could consider delaying the assessment until it can be safely conducted, provided this does not cause a negative impact on the learner progression. Or, where delay is not possible, a task can be carried out remotely without supervision, but assessed and quality assured. Where remote assessment is not possible, the centre can move to submitting a centre-determined grade. The requirements for undertaking centre-determined grades are the same as those for levels 1 to 3. For example, you will need to inform City and Guilds of your intention to submit centre-determined grades. You will need to carry out IQA activities upon the evidence and retain evidence or records normally provided for EQA monitoring visits for possible sampling by City and Guilds as part of the quality assurance monitoring. Again, a range of evidence can be used to make a judgment about a centre-determined grade. For example, the successful completion of a practice control task. This could be done without supervision remotely by the learner, but it would of course need to be internally assessed and quality assured. Learner work which clearly demonstrates competency in a broad range of skills as laid out in the practitioner's guidance could be used. For communication, this should include evidence in reading, writing and speaking and listening. And for number, this should include calculations and the interpretation and presentation of data. Essential digital literacy skills, levels 1 to 3. Learners who are able to complete the current adapted assessment should continue to do so. However, a witness testimony, which has been internally quality assured, can be used in place of the recording of the structured discussion. If it is not possible to carry out the currently adapted assessment, then consider delaying the assessment until it can be safely conducted, provided that this does not cause a negative impact on learner progression. Or, where delay is not possible, the centre can move to a centre-determined grade using the following evidence. Learner work which clearly demonstrates competency in a broad range of the skills as laid out in the design's principles. This should include digital collaboration, creativity, productivity, responsibility and information literacy. As before, centres will need to notify City and Guilds of their intention to submit centre-determined grades once this process has been agreed and shared with you. All evidence should be internally quality assured, and evidence or records normally provided for EQA monitoring visits should be retained for sampling by City and Guilds as part of the quality assurance monitoring. Entry-level essential digital literacy skills. Learners who are able to complete the assessment in the usual way should continue to do so. We will reduce the number of tasks available for use. However, a witness testimony, which has been internally quality assured, can be used in place of the recording of the structured discussion. Where it is not possible to deliver assessments as usual, then a learner can complete a task remotely without supervision, and a witness testimony, which has been internally quality assured, can be used in place of the recording for the structured discussion. Alternatively, consider delaying the assessment until it can be safely conducted, provided this does not cause a negative impact on learner progression. Or, if a delay is not possible, the centre can move to a centre-determined grade using the following evidence. Learner work which clearly demonstrates competency in a broad range of the skills as laid out in the design principles. Essential employability skills, levels 1 to 3. Learners who are able to complete the current assessment should continue to do so. The number of tasks available for use will be limited. However, it is possible to replace the recording of the structured discussion with a witness testimony which has been internally quality assured. Where it is not possible to deliver the assessment in this way, consider delaying the assessment until it can be safely conducted, provided that this does not cause a negative impact on learner progression. Or, where a delay is not possible, the centre can move to using a centre-determined grade based on the following evidence. Learner work which clearly demonstrates competency in a broad range of skills as laid out in the design principles. This should include critical thinking, problem solving, planning and organisation, creativity, innovation and personal effectiveness. Entry-level essential employability skills. Learners who are able to complete the assessment in the usual way should continue to do so. There will be a limited number of tasks available for use. It is possible to replace the structured discussion recording with a witness testimony, which must be internally quality assured. If it's not possible to deliver the assessment in this way, a candidate can complete the task remotely without supervision and use a witness testimony to replace the recording of the structured discussion. Alternatively, you could delay the assessment until it can be safely conducted face-to-face, provided this does not cause a negative impact on the learner progression. Or, where delay is not possible, the centre can move to a centre-determined grade using evidence of learner work which clearly demonstrates their competency in a broad range of the skills as laid out in the design principles. I realise that you may have questions about the process for letting City and Guilds know of your intention to move forward with centre-determined grades, or you want to ask how you go about submitting these grades. We are still developing the process to enable these actions to be taken, and we will update the guidance and issue an alert as soon as these have been agreed to communicate them with you. In the meantime, we've collated questions from the live version of this webinar and turned them into a frequently asked questions document, which is available on the COVID-19 webpage. If you have further questions, please submit these to centresupport@cityandguilds.com and we will endeavour to answer your questions. Thank you for listening to this recording. We hope that you find it useful.